Yeah, we're coming up after the news, so I'll give you the countdown.
Sounds good. And I'm just going to say
Awesome,
hello
man.
to everyone who might be tuning in on my end.
Cool. Alrighty.
Cool. And if you're watching on my end, which is everyone who's on social media, not the radio, my name is Sean Shapiro, and I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day, and today is no different. In fact, I've been talking since like 6 in the morning. I am joining, or soon to be joining, Kelly Cutrara on the Kelly Cutrara SHow on AM 640 Toronto, and that is where we'll be talking about, well, really answering traffic and police questions for her listeners, her audience, people calling in. Maybe we'll talk about some stuff in the news, whatever it is, we'll be talking about it. And you're welcome to come along for the ride. That's the story. Now, if you've got questions, feel free to drop in the chat, and we'll try and intertwine and use them in the show if there's an opportunity, or I'll just answer them after we're off the air. Either way, once the news is done, we will continue for a few minutes with you. But actually, when the news is done, then I'll actually join them on the air. That's how this works. So if you're new, hit follow, subscribe, like, retweet, share, anything you can do to make sure that you get notified next time we do this again, which is Monday to Friday from 10 to 11 for Ask a Traffic Cop, the full show, and whenever we join our radio friends in Radioland. Oh, Scarborough. Scarborough, I'm not just, I'm not making 200K. I wish I was. That'd be very nice. Not just to do TikTok. I've been all over the media today. I was at Global News. I was everywhere. And then I do stuff here. This is just sharing with you some of what I do, and I do it on TikTok too. I'm always interested when people get upset that I'm here educating and answering people. I could sit on the phone and wait for one call at a time, talk to one person instead of thousands, but, whatever works. Nellie, thanks for following. So we're just in radio silence mode, but Carlos told me to get a little update and let me know when we're ready to go. But it's just a few minutes from now. We'll be joining Kelly Cutrara on AM 640 Toronto. You're welcome to, I'd say call in, but I don't remember the call-in numbers, but I'm sure Kelly will tell everybody once we're back. And you can call in. Big Jeff Fresh, good morning. Let's see here. Headachy adult stuff. Says, good afternoon, sorry, I've been AWOL most of the week. Just been dealing with headachy adult stuff. You know what? You got to take care of yourself. Big Jeff Fresh is a regular viewer, and then you're wondering why their question or his question was on the screen. It's because he came in through YouTube, whereas all the TikTok folk on this screen, well, you can't. Vehicle Valley, good morning to you. It's been a while. You get to come into my afternoon stuff. Daytime stuff, you're not around anymore. We miss you. See, we're more than just TikTok and broadcasting. We're a community. We have all sorts of people that we have this circle of friends. This is long news, Carlos. All right. What kind of stuff? Back to school. This is a big thing. Back to school next week. Are you excited? Or are you not excited? I'm kind of excited. I'm excited because my kids are excited, and that makes me happy. Let's see all their old friends. Very cool. What's going on with my phone case? It's mangled. Oh, well. What else is going? Tell me what. Hey from Newfoundland. What's going on, Glenn? It is good to see people from across Canada tuning in. And this is kind of international. We've had people from all over the world. New Zealand, yeah, all over the world. I've had police officers from all over the world write to me saying that they're following along. That's cool. Big Jeff Fresh is saying excited for a quiet house. I don't know what that looks like. By the time I get home, everyone's home anyway. What? I don't know what the Canadian person, user Canadian, is ranting about.
Alrighty, Sean, we're coming back in less than a minute.
Less than a minute. We can do that. That was Carlos. Carlos used to be somewhere else that I used to go, and now he's here. It's really cool. He's really cool. Banker, my one and only is going to university in 2 days. Oh my goodness, I'm not ready for that. car thefts. We can talk about that. Just waiting to go live. If you're wondering why I'm being so quiet. If I say anything, that won't be live. I'm trying to be quiet because we're gonna like. It's been a minute. It's been over a minute.
CHML in London at 980 CFPL and 640 Toronto. Happy Thursday to you. Feels like a Friday because we're on the cusp of a long weekend here, the final long weekend of summer. And speaking of final, it's the final day of August. Hard to believe, but it is true. We're doing a little swapperooski here because we thought it was really important to take Steve Clark, the housing minister's press conference, live because there were calls for his resignation, and we really didn't know what was going to happen today at 12:30. So we've done a little shuffling here on the Kelly Cutrara Show, and we are now joined by our usual Thursday 12:30 guest at 2:00. So it's a little bit different, but Constable Sean Shapiro is our guest. He's the TikTok traffic cop, and he joins the Kelly Cutrara Show. Sean, great to have you back. Thanks so much for being flexible.
I'm not that flexible in real life, but on the radio I can be totally flexible, and it feels like 12:30, but it's almost the same as 2:00.
Okay. Well, it depends on where you're at, how early you got up in the morning, but I do appreciate you sticking around for us. Can we talk about the fact that Wasaga Beach has all these roadblocks? The OPP have set them up all over the place. They're looking for souped up cars because they've been granted an injunction to prevent this unsanctioned car rally that got more than out of hand last year at this time in Wasaga Beach. How much of a problem are these unsanctioned car rallies for the police to keep up with?
Well, the big problem is that you're getting people from all over who are driving cars that are not necessarily safe for the road to begin with, and then when they get there, they participate in illegal activity in the way of stunt driving, whether it be on public or private property, and it terrorizes the neighborhood. Like people say, what's the shame, what's the harm? But it really does impact the community.
Right. And we're hearing a lot about the noise, the excessive noise, because they have modified their cars significantly. So with the roadblocks, I don't know if you've talked to the OPP about this. Are they going to be handing out fines if you try and get through with the modified car? Will they just say, yeah, the other way? Because I know in some cases you can't modify a vehicle, right?
Well, you can do certain modifications, but the modifications have to be lawful. And if you're
Okay.
lowering your vehicle too low, you're taking out exhaust systems, you're not just modifying it, you're making it unlawful, and you're going to get tickets, or you're going to lose your license plates and get towed from where you are. So it really depends on what the vehicle is being presented as. And yeah, some people might get some unhappy tickets and expenses.
Do you think they're aware of the fact they can't modify their cars to some degree, or do you think people are being, taken advantage of by people that want to sell them on something that they think is going to be cool?
I think the vast majority, the real car people, know exactly what they're doing.
Okay.
It's one thing to glue on some fake vents or tint your windows, and there could be some question there. But when they're doing some serious modifications, they're skilled. They really are entrenched in the lifestyle and it's a car culture, and it's not all bad. But the people who are going too far know that they're going too far.
Okay, so we always use the second segment for open lines and calls for you, Sean. If you have any questions for Sean, we'll be opening up those lines. But I want to let you know we also have a text line at 416-870-6400. And you can start texting in your questions right now, 416-870-6400, and I will happily pass them along for you. Chris Creston, our producer, has a question for you, Sean.
Is he coming in?
That was pulling out of my neighbor's driveway had hand-drawn license plates. And I just thought, well, that can't be legal, but who do I call and how do I report it? It was a nondescript white van without any labels or decals on it.
Nothing
But
that said free candy on the door, right?
Yeah.
That's super creepy.
That's very creepy. The deal is with there's a lot of people who do a lot of strange things. We've seen fake license plates. We've seen hand drawn. We've seen fairly professionally produced plastic license plates, and we've been posting about this on our Twitter accounts. There's no length that it seems people won't go to try and get away with stuff. So you can call police, you can report it, you can call anonymously if you're concerned for your safety at 222 tips. But at
But
the
what
end
do
of
you
the day,
call with, Sean? Because like if it's a fake license plate, he can call in and say I saw a white van. That's fairly, vague.
well,
And
you,
here's the license plate number. How are the
you
cops
give
going to
the
catch
fake
him?
license plate, and that's something we can be on the lookout. If it says ABC
Oh.
123, then at least we'll be looking for that. It's better than not reporting it, because that vehicle could be getting reports from multiple other people, and then we start. We're building a file where we're not necessarily going to be able to run out and grab that person at that moment, but now we
But,
see them being reported.
and we have a
all over the city.
location,
Yeah.
right? I guess, if you got a big map somewhere with a bunch of pins in it, and okay, well, it was on Yonge Street on Saturday morning. You have an idea of where they were at. And I guess naive question, but there's never any reason why anyone would have a hand-drawn license plate, right?
Not legally, no. And some people have gotten really creative because they don't want to have front license plates. So I even saw this in a recent article where they had taken a license plate and reproduced it in vinyl and attached it to the front bumper, so it would be aerodynamic, because they were worried about drag, I guess. Not legal. No
Okay, do
reasonable
you have to
background.
have a license plate on the front and back of your car?
You do. If you're issued a pair of license plates, and that's everybody in the province of Ontario, you're obligated to display both of them, and they have to be displayed in the conspicuous place at the front and back of the vehicle. The rear one has to be lit at night with a 3 candela light bulb, of all things, and in the front, it has to be anywhere in the front. It could be on your grill, on your tow hook adapter, in the actual mounting space if one exists. But many people don't like the way it looks, so they choose.
Some people are putting them in
$110
the
to get it.
dashboard.
That is absolutely illegal, and not only is it illegal, it's dangerous. It would become a projectile in the event of a collision, but it's also not where the law says it has to be. Front of the vehicle, not 50% of the way back, and behind glass.
Chris and I were out the other day, Sean, and we were walking up Jarvis Street, and we saw one of those photo radar camera boxes. And Chris goes, take a look at that. Wow, there's someone getting creative. Someone had taken black spray paint and sprayed over where the lens would be. What's the charge for sabotaging a machine like this?
Criminal mischief is something like that. We're talking criminality at this point. So while there could be a range of financial impact, there could also be potential jail time. At the end of the day, destroying government property is a problem. And I think that there's so much of that regularly. Like, people have tried knocking them over or stealing them. People don't like being told to slow down, apparently.
Okay, speaking of people being told to slow down, Bruce has sent in a question for you. He said, hey, Chris. Well, I sent it in via Chris, clearly. Here's an idea for the cops to get behind to prevent mayhem on the roads. Why should a 16-year-old first-time driver be allowed to operate high-performance vehicles? Shouldn't be allowed till around the age of 25. Is that something that, can actually come into legislation at some point, or?
They do it in other countries. If you look at Europe and in some parts of Asia, for instance, with motorcycles, you can only have a certain displacement at a certain time. And if you talk to performance drivers, they think that anyone buying a performance car at any age should have professional training, because it's just too much machine for the average person. Everyone thinks they're a great driver. The reality is they're really not. They're average drivers at best. And then when you put them under one of these machines or inside one of these machines, bad things happen.
All right. Well, I'm going to open up the phone lines here at 416-870-6400, 1-888-225-TALK. Sean Shapiro, our TikTok traffic cop friend, is here and going to take your questions. So if you've had any of those questions that have just been burning, or, you have a debate with your significant other about what's legal and what's not legal, then now's the time to call 416-870-6400, 1-888-225-TALK, and Sean will settle it for you. You can also text at 416-870-6400. It's the Kelly Cutrara Show. We'll hand things over to you next.
We're going to be on a commercial break. I will sit here and chat with you until we're back. And Carlos, if you can give me a 30-second heads up by way of text or voice, let me know, and I will stop talking to them and start talking to you again. In the meantime, let's see what's going on in the chat. So nothing in the tube of you, although we do have a bunch of people watching. Hello, people who are watching. I'm now curious. Is everyone on one platform? We got two on YouTube. We've got Oh, we've got Twitch followers watching. Hello, Twitch. We have Facebook folks too. Sip of water required. And then we've got a whole bunch of people watching on the TikTok. So, was there a question earlier about stolen vehicles? You know, police go out and preventative medicine, hard to do. We really can't prevent, from a police perspective, stop people from stealing your stuff. We go and take a report and we try and find your stuff and the people who took it. That's after the event. What we really want people to do is get behind the concept of putting in devices like the club, you know, the steering wheel lock, that makes your vehicle look less attractive so they go steal something else. But the truth is, the real truth is that if they want it, they're going to get it. And there's really not much you can do. You can do things to make it less attractive, so they steal your neighbor's car instead of yours. But if they are dedicated and professional, they may very well, just see it as a challenge. There's other things you can install, like hidden, kill switches and
35 seconds.
30 seconds. Cool. We're hanging out. We're waiting. More after. I'll stick around for a couple minutes. Is there a Toronto Police Union? There's an association, not a union. It's always a long 30 seconds. The work lurkers, I like that. The work lurkers are watching but not talking. It's a different time. 2 o'clock is a weird time. Why is it illegal to do wheelies on your own property? Thank the people who did takeover. They triggered the change in law. Bees. The local big bear, not boar, bear. Doesn't care, going to do what he wants. The real Lima Lion. Yes, this is live. It is live, and we're joining the Kelly Cutrara SHow on AM 640. Just waiting for the break. I thought there was a 30-second notice. Maybe I heard something that didn't happen. But we're going to be back in a second with our host. And you can call into the show and ask questions. Not the normal time, yes. The local, yes. And the big thing, Bear, is that we're not camping out in your property waiting for you to do something. It's if you get complaints, if we witness it, like no one's waiting in your bushes to get you doing a wheelie. Just isn't happening. A truck of bees in Burlington that lost its load.
All right, Sean, we're coming back in.
We're going back, okay. Be careful. These are great bee jokes. Hello, California.
You're listening to the Kelly Cutrara Show. It is Thursday, August 31st. Carlos doing a great job driving the show today. A little bit of metric there. Avery Haynes, who isn't a fan? All right, let's get right back to the show. And our TikTok traffic cop is with us, Sean Shapiro. He's answering your questions. So let's get right into it with Rick from London. Welcome to the Kelly Cutrara Show. Fantastic. Sean, go for it.
I'm not hearing the question. We've gone
And
silent.
you run my plates and all that stuff. By rights, don't when you run the plates, doesn't your insurance information it shows up on your screen along with the ownership, doesn't it?
Okay, I only heard part of it, but what I think you're asking is when I run your plates, do I see all the information related to it, like your ownership, your insurance, your license, and so on? And that's probably linked to a question, I'm assuming, of why do I need you to surrender it? Is that what you were going for?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
That's exactly, yeah.
So when I run a license plate, I see who the registered owner is, but that doesn't mean that's the driver.
Right.
I do see the vehicle, and I have to do a separate database check to find out if the last time the system updated, which is about 15 days behind, if there was insurance or not. That doesn't mean that there's currently insurance on the vehicle. It's not a live link to see it, but it's a good place to start. And then I still have to do my investigation, and you're obligated to surrender your license, ownership, and insurance. Oh, I have planes flying above it doing the air show behind me.
But
But
mean,
yeah, so you
also-
still have to surrender it, and even then, in order, if you don't have it, we would lay charges. But if I have suspicion that you may not be insured, I'm still going to do follow up work and call the insurance company and verify status. So it's on its face, it seems simple, but it's actually much more involved, especially when we're dealing with severe charges that could lead to fines of $5,000 to $25,000 and possibly jail time.
And the second part of the question I got here for you also is like I know guys that rent vans like from different places, and the guys are under suspension. And I said to one OPP officer, says, now when you run their plate, doesn't the guy's name come up? He says, you kidding? I says, what do you mean? He says, we're not linked to that stuff. He says, it could be Tom Thumb driving that van. We don't know who's driving. I said,
Right.
really?
So if I rent a car, it's registered to the dealer or the rental company. There's nothing to connect you to that vehicle in a database. There's no live update. Now,
That's
rental
amazing.
companies are supposed to verify the status of a driver's license before they rent you the car. There's a free website. In fact, if you go to trafficcop.ca, you can check your friend's license to make sure it's valid before you loan them your car. And it's a free service.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think that the rental companies would come out and say, well, provide an abstract to us or a CVR or whatever is on the spot and to cover their behind. You know what I mean?
well, they can do it for free online, just like you can. But the police still have to do all the checks, live at the time.
appreciate the call, Sean. Thanks so much. Or Rick, rather, I did it again. Thanks so much. You know what I just feel like we were? I feel like we just, when you're watching CSI and you're like, shh, don't let the bad guys know what to do. I feel like we just did that. But anyhow, it is interesting. Let's move over to Greg. Greg, welcome to the Kelly Cutrara Show. You're talking to Sean Shapiro, the TikTok traffic cop.
Hi, Sean. My question to you is, as I drive around Toronto, when I pull up to a light, everybody is on their cell phone. Everybody, the light turns green, nobody moves. Why does the city of Toronto, as a revenue source, put cops in unmarked cars, and they could pay for the cop and the car probably within a month of all the tickets they would give, because everybody is on their phone. Everybody is sitting, going through red lights. Red lights have become a suggestion now. Not everybody stops at a red light.
There's no
What are your
question
thoughts?
that we have a traffic problem in Toronto, and it's not just Toronto, but it seems to be the GTA, because people who drive in from other areas tell me how wild and crazy it is out here. But the deal is that we don't have enough police officers in the city to be everywhere all the time. So we are out there doing enforcement. We have the Vision Zero enforcement team that do a fantastic job, and they are targeting distracted driving, and they write a ton of tickets. But they can only write as many as they can write, and other officers also have to go to all those priority calls. So it's about managing our resources. And you're right, if we had more, we could write more. And we have more that are going to graduate soon, and hopefully we'll get them out doing some enforcement. But, we look to the left, the people on the right are going to be on their phone. It's a never-ending problem. We need to change the attitude about it and get people to change their behavior without the ticket as the motivator.
No, I understand, but again, it's just the Wild West. Toronto's become a crazy place to drive, and I think it's a total revenue source. But
Well,
I'll leave
sadly,
it
the money doesn't go to the police service; it goes to the province, and then maybe there's a plan there. Talk to your counselor and MP.
You think that Doug Ford's going to want to give that money back? I think they need the money as well. Let's move over to Megan in Stouffville. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Okay,
Hi there.
I have a question. Hi, I'm going to try and explain this as good as possible. Okay, so I'm driving to work in the morning. I'm the last one in the row. I'm in an 80 zone, coming up over the hill, and I see a cop sitting in the pull-in area. Everybody turns their brakes on, including myself. And then he pulls out behind me and he follows me far, right into a 70 zone. And then he pulls me over. And that's where he gave me a ticket for 90 and a 70. But when I seen him in the pulling area, I like immediately went below speed limit.
Well,
So-
so what you're saying is you were speeding before you saw him, and then when you saw
I
him, you
was
slowed
doing-
down.
I was doing 90 and an 80.
Yeah.
And then he pulled out behind me. And then when he followed me,
I got your question, but what I'm going to assume is happening, and I obviously wasn't there. I don't know what they were using to
okay,
measure
and
speed.
on the ticket it says a 90 and a 70. But
Right.
by the time I got to the 70, I was probably doing 60 because I already knew he was pulling me over.
Oh, I see. I don't know what they did. I don't know how they did it, but I can tell you that if laser was being used for speed measurement, they probably got you hundreds of meters before you knew.
Oh, really? How far did they?
No, that's impossible. That's impossible because when I came over the hill, it's like immediately, like you don't see the cop until you're right over the hill. So it's impossible that he's seen me way before. And I was the very last
I couldn't
one.
speak to why or how they did what they did. Obviously, they'll have to articulate how they measured your speed when they go to court. But yeah, I'm not familiar with the area to speak on their behalf.
All right. Appreciate the call, Megan. But clearly, I think the key there is, unfortunately, Megan was speeding because she admitted it. Hey, look at people speed. I'm guilty of that as well. And you get the ticket and you pay the price. And hopefully, one thing we have to keep in mind, especially with the kids going back to school, make sure you are being extra careful on the roads because kids are going back to school, aren't they?
Back to school is a big thing, and slowing down is a good way to start. Leaving all sorts of extra time to get there safely would be my suggestion at the very least, because we are going to have more congestion, more people hitting the streets, on the sidewalks, riding bikes. Everyone wants to get somewhere, and they all want to be there at time, and it's all the same start times. So yeah, it's going to be frustrating until we get back into a groove, and we want to keep those kids safe.
Let me ask you this quick question. Someone just asked, I have a question for the officer. If I can't use a cell phone while driving, why do police allow drivers to drive around with their pets in their laps?
They don't. That's not legal. It's careless driving or drive while crowded. And it's absolutely unsafe and not acceptable.
All right. Chris, I guess we don't have time for another question, unfortunately. We got to wrap it up. One other thing I'd like to touch on, Sean, before we leave, is a transport minister in Quebec being caught without a seatbelt 5 times, said, I'm sorry, I wasn't wearing my seatbelt. Accidents happen. Oops, we all make mistakes. Any follow-up for you on that?
This was in Quebec.
Yeah.
I couldn't speak to that. I'm not familiar with the case. However, it's pretty hard to always forget. I can't get past the bing, bing, bing chime of a car.
Oh, yeah, true.
If I get 10 feet, without putting my seatbelt. But I honestly feel naked without it. And
Me too.
I wouldn't be able to do it. It feels weird. Like riding a motorcycle without a helmet. Can't do that either.
It's funny. That makes sense, riding a motorcycle without a helmet. It's probably better than Chris's analogy. He said he feels like he's leaving the house without pants on.
Well, it works too.
Yeah, I can't pull out of the driveway without my seatbelt on, but that's just me. Listen, Sean, thanks so much for sticking around. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and we'll do it again soon.
Sounds like a plan. Take care.
Cheers. Sean Shapiro, the TikTok traffic cop on the Kelly Cutrara Show. I know Doug Ford says.
Wow. So that's always fun, hanging out here with the gang from 640 Toronto. If you're watching, we've been broadcasting all of this on a bunch of different places. Of course, the radio, but we're also on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and the platform formerly known as Twitter, now called X. I do this show Mondays to Fridays. However, I'm not, the regular show from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Yeah, sometimes at 9:30 to 11 if we jump in with some stations. But at the end of the day, you can always catch the replay by going to a podcasting app. Your favorite one will usually suffice, Apple or Spotify. You can go on iHeartRadio app. All of them work because we're everywhere that you are. Now, YouTube is also a great repository of all the, former episodes. We've been doing this for years, so there's lots to listen to. Let's see here. Could be... yes, absolutely. Prime B24 says, lady on the phone, they could have had a cop on a bridge above or around the corner speed checking. You're absolutely right. And, OPP does that a lot. They also have aircraft. There's a lot of different possible ways to have measured. But, asking me to justify how somebody else did their job, I just can't do it. I can speculate, but that's it. The real Lima Lion says, I am Speed. Everybody is Lightning McQueen. Emma, how you doing? We've got Jesse Brown says, hey. We got what is this? Do you need a front license plate in Ontario? We talked about that on the segment. If you go back and listen to it on YouTube, you'll hear the answer, which is actually yes. I'll save you the time. Okay, what are we talking? Okay. Let's see. Just looking to see if we have any other questions that I can hit before heading out of here, because I'm an hour later leaving for home. I was supposed to be out of here at 1:30, but I wanted to stick around and be on the show with our friend Kelly, because we were supposed to do this at 12:30, our regular time, which didn't work because they were at another event. Let's see here. I don't think there's anything else. Let's keep scrolling up. It's called a what? Oh, I see Tracy. What else do we see here? No, we're good. What is a constable? Police constables. I'm a cop. I'm a police officer. It's a constable is just a more British sounding nuts. It's what. It originated from England, I believe. That's where it all started. And the Americans just say, police officer, but we are police officers, but constable is the official rank. The next rank above is sergeant, the next rank is staff sergeant. Of course, different organizations have slightly different rank structures. But this is the one that we have. We are going to say goodbye, and I will say hello again next week. Is Monday a holiday? That messed me up. Is this a long weekend? I thought I was going to be at work on Monday, but maybe I'm not. Anyway, hope you have a great weekend, whatever you're doing. I'm not going to be at work tomorrow because I'm going to be starting my weekend early. Have a wonderful time. Stay safe, drive sober, and I will be back whenever it is that they tell me to come back to work. Can a kid buy non-alcoholic beer? It's not alcoholic. You should be fine. It's not regulated. I don't think there's anything stopping persons under the drinking age to buy alcohol-free things. Is it true cops step out as a what is this? I don't know. I don't know. What? Is it true that cops step out as a contractor when dealing with anything not under Now that your question is framing things in such a way that I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, cool. We just listened on 640 20 minutes ago. Oh, are they loop 20 minutes ago? Yeah, I've been on since just after 2, so that makes sense. And I am also, if you go onto Twitter, it might be on other platforms too, did a back-to-school segment with Global Television this morning, which was a good one. I was actually really impressed. It was a really good segment. I had fun, and nobody got hurt. What's the comment here? Monday is Labor Day. Does that mean I don't have to come to work? Woohoo! I'm excited. I didn't expect a 4-day weekend. That's totally unexpected. That's how up-to-date I am on when holidays happen. See, I just show up for work to talk to y'all, but apparently Tuesday's the next stream. Who'd have thunk? All right. Be well. Have fun this weekend. If you're getting ready for school, and I don't see it before school, because that may very well happen, have a great day.